All right, back here live, our special extended debate coverage continues. And now we have reaction of what happened with our political panel tonight.
We are joined by former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, a Democrat, and Fond du Lac County District Attorney Toney, a Republican. Thank you both for being here. Eric, we'll start with you because you were in the room.
Yeah,
What's the takeaway?
Well, what I think we saw was a fantastic group of candidates where any one of them would make an excellent president of the United States. And we saw a debate on the issues, showcasing some of the failures of Joe Biden and highlighting why we have such fantastic candidates that are ready to take the Oval Office.
I want to say this. This was probably one of the most diverse groups on the stage. What does it say about America when you see all those different faces representing our country?
You know, I think when we're sitting in the stadium watching that, people aren't worried about what's their skin color, what's their gender. They're looking at what are the ideas, what are they promising to do for the American people. That's what we see people gravitating towards different candidates. And I think all of them made some really good cases as to why they would be an excellent president of the United States.
Mandela, I'd like you to respond as well.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic that they're still attacking diversity all across this country. It took them a while to get to this place where they could have such diversity on the stage. Yet the pillars of each campaign, each candidate, each Republican administration all across this country in different states, they are attacking diversity. So it really means nothing to have a crowd of people or a panel of candidates that, you know, look different than typical Republican Party.
Lieutenant Governor, Bidenomics did come up on the stage. You were with the president just last week. He's talking about his economic policies, but people still feel like they're not working. Is that a concern for you going forward with the president?
Well, I can tell you the Biden administration has truly delivered 13 million new jobs across this country. Manufacturing is coming back all across this country. They're going to be building solar panels and windmills right here in Milwaukee, right here in the state of Wisconsin. It's something we should all be proud of. The Infrastructure and Jobs Act, getting roads and bridges repaired that have been in disrepair for so long. The former president was talking about Infrastructure Week. Now we're going to have Infrastructure Decade in this country, and it's something I'm really excited about.
Eric, when you see those who were on the stage tonight, many of them who have experience in government, and then you see a newcomer like Vivek, who do you say really was the winner in tonight's debate?
You know, sometimes it feels like people watch two different debates because you didn't see any attack on diversity from the candidates tonight. And I don't know that I would say any one candidate came away as the winner. They all had some different moments. I think Nikki Haley really did a good job, maybe moving up above where some people expected. Her answer on abortion was great. And one of the topics that I think a lot of the candidates started to talk on in different ways is fentanyl, opioids, and the border issue, because I've sat across as a district attorney from too many parents that have had to bury their child who has died from fentanyl, and we see that as a direct consequence of the open border and the failure of the Biden administration to actually address that. And these candidates all showed they care, because when you look at opioids, it doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your gender is, or how much money you have. It doesn't discriminate who it kills.
All right, we want to cut in here because we believe the former vice president is speaking right now in the spin room. Let's listen in.
The most proven and tested conservative in this race today. I'm the person best equipped to turn this country around after the disastrous policies of the Biden administration. But I also wanted people to know that it's a very clear choice on that stage. And I seized every opportunity I could take to draw those contrasts, and I look forward to the next debate.
Was there anything there that helped you really break through this crowded field? You're trailing the polls.
Well, I'd leave that to others. I'll tell you, as we've traveled around Iowa and New Hampshire, one of the things we figured out is that we're well known, but we're not known well. I mean, people that know me wouldn't have been surprised to see my fire. You know, I fought for conservative values in Congress. I fought for conservative values as governor of Indiana. And I was the leading champion of conservative values in the Trump-Pence administration. I know how to fight, and I was happy to bring that fight tonight.
From former Vice President Pence there. Eric, I want to ask you again, you know, a lot of the people who were on that stage were polling at less than 5%. Do you think that any one of those, as he said, I'm known but not well known, will be the headline tomorrow?
I'm not sure if any of them that were polling at that low of a level will be that unknown. I will say, Chris Christie did something, and he took swings at different candidates, including former President Trump, which didn't always receive great applause. But my dad sent me a text and said, I really like some of the things Chris Christie was saying, but he was getting booed a lot. But one of the really important distinctions that I think Chris Christie made was talking about some of the indictments with President Trump and how you can separate whether is it criminal or not, innocent until or unless proven guilty, but you can look at the conduct itself and still be offended by the conduct that happened. I thought that was a really good point that Chris Christie made, because any of these candidates that are really going to slingshot up have to cut into President Trump's lead, and to do that, I think they're going to have to address these indictments because that's the top mainstream news story.
Did you respect that as a prosecutor?
I absolutely respected that portion of what Chris Christie said, because that's what I've been telling friends and people as I travel across the state, and I think that resonates with people, that you can separate and say, we don't know if this is criminal, we're going to let the justice system process that out. And one of the areas we've talked about Vivek a little bit, I think he made a huge mistake when he said something to the effect of eliminating or defunding the FBI. I understand some people are upset because they look at a two-tier justice system, but I've worked with some great FBI agents, and they help keep our country safe.
Lieutenant Governor Barnes, I just got to get you a quick response. We heard him talk about climate change. We heard about reproductive rights. We also heard about crime. What issues stood out for you that you think Democrats will be looking at when they see these candidates?
Well, I can tell you, when they talk about reproductive rights, it's about taking them away. When they talk about climate change, they're denying it. When they talk about all these issues, it's about taking us backwards. And that's why I'm so excited to support President Biden's reelection. The reality is nobody on that stage is going to become the president of the United States. Usually it's a who's who affair. We saw a who is that affair. And the American people aren't buying what they're selling because they're so out of touch, especially with the people here in the state of Wisconsin.
We have so much to talk about, and we've got an hour to do it, so we definitely want to bring you back.
All right, we do want to hear from Ben Jordan, who has been talking with people who are inside listening to that debate.
Yeah, Charles, thousands of people are pouring out of Fiserv Forum, so we wanted to find out their first reaction coming out of this debate. I'm joined by Ann Glick. You're an undecided Republican voter from Indiana, so you made all the trip over here to Milwaukee to hear from these 8 candidates. Did you hear anything tonight that swayed you one way or another to put one candidate on the top?
Not any one thing. I heard some good things from a number of candidates, and I heard some disparaging things from certain candidates, which would have kind of turned me off on them.
If I were to put you on the spot here and ask who was the big winner and who was the big loser of this debate, who would you say they are?
Well, I don't know if there was a clear winner, but I think the young guy was a clear loser. I just felt that he showed his age and his inexperience.
All right, thank you so much, Ann. We really appreciate it, and we'll try to find some more people coming out of the debate to find out what they think.
All right, Ben Jordan talking to someone who was actually inside that debate. You're now taking another live look inside the spin room. That is the North Dakota Governor, Doug Burgum, who had an injury last night playing some basketball, but he was on the stage for the full 2 hours. We will be right back with more coverage from